there's no question that they're federal agents. So if you assault a federal agent, you can expect to do a shit ton of fucking prison time. But you don't have that when you're acting alone. Isn't that kind of crazy when you think about it? He can get all that stuff together. He can get up to the gate. And as long as he doesn't do anything, what's the crime? He was delusional in his support for Ukraine. He's delusional in his thoughts. And here he is posting up between the 6th and 7th hole on Trump International Golf Course at a business nearby with his rifle poking through a fence. That's basically what I'm saying. So when you look at what he did, and if Trump was nowhere around, you can't conspire with yourself. So you got to go with a more serious crime. What's the most serious crime that he committed? And the most serious crime that he committed is assault with a deadly weapon against a federal agent. And because they can't get him on anything that he did to Trump because Trump was at the hole behind. So he wasn't there. But the real question is, how did he know how to post up where he posted up? How did he know where Trump was going to be at that particular moment? Because without that advance team, he probably could have taken a free shot at Trump.
Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. Who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And who is he? Bruce Rivers, he's the criminal lawyer. And what he do? And he's gonna react to all the self-snitching.
Hi, this is Bruce Rivers. Welcome to another fun-filled episode of Criminal Lawyer Reacts. I'm Bruce Rivers, your very own. Not many people can say that they have a very own personal board-certified criminal defense lawyer at their disposal, and you do, and you know who you are. So today we're reacting to Ryan Wesley Ruth with our content genius suggestion, Michael Rivers, who's behind the camera, behind the phone, behind everything. Without me, he's basically like I'm a puppet and he's the puppeteer, That's Michael. So say hello, Michael.
Hello, everyone. Hello.
All right, so today we're reacting to Ryan Wesley Ruth. He just got busted for... And it really was, we were calling it an attempted assassination of Donald Trump, but there were no shots fired from his gun. And we're going to talk about what crimes he may have committed. But before we get to that, guess what? This is brought to you by our very loyal sponsor, eForms.com. eForms.com is a very effective way to do just about anything you need to do without a lawyer. So if you have a power of attorney that you need, if you need an agreement, like a bill of sale, if you have any kind of thing that you're selling, always get a bill of sale. Go to eForms.com. If you need a medical power of attorney, you want, your wishes to be carried out, go to eForms.com. My grandmother, she's in the basement, and I know we've had at least one person talk about we shouldn't be bad-mouthing grandma's in the basement. And I don't keep her in the basement all the time. I do let her up from time to time. Just usually when she's, dealing, not when she's dealing meth or anything like that. But, just generally speaking, we had to get power of attorney for grandma because grandma's got a lot of money from her OnlyFeeds fan page. And, we got to protect her. So eForms.com, very effective way to avoid the high cost of a lawyer. And it protects you if you ever wind up going to court. Because if it's writing, you can't argue with a document. You just can't. eForms.com, very effective way to take care of business. Okay, who is Ryan Wesley Ruth? Ryan Wesley Ruth was a dude that, he's 58 years old, my age, and he is just a mixed up son of a bitch, right? He went to Ukraine and, tried to work with some organizations saying he was going to get all these recruits, Afghan recruits, and everything he said and did was basically fantastical. In other words, he was doing this to try to reinvent himself, I think, a little bit, but not doing this because he had any real skills in the areas that he was pretending to reinvent himself about. Does that make sense? So here's what we know. Trump was at Trump International in Palm Beach, which is not that far from the airport. And what happens is these, when Trump goes, there's an advanced team there that goes. He doesn't have the same protections as the sitting president, just because that's just the way it goes. But he does have protections of the Secret Service for two reasons. One, he's a former president, and two, he's a candidate for office. So he does enjoy those protections. So what they did is they go to the, they advance, they go to the first, to the hole before he gets there. So he was going between the 6th and 7th hole of the golf course. You can see the layout here. And when he goes there, when the Secret Service agent sees a rifle in the bush, and they engage. So they fire at him, and he takes off, and he leaves a backpack and whatever he left there, and he hops in his car, and he gets pulled over a few miles away. What crime did he commit? That is the rub there. So now let's say he did this with another person. If he did this with another person, it would be a conspiracy to assassinate a sitting president. Well, that's a crime. That's a major, major crime. Now, my understanding, and the facts are still coming in, but if he pointed his firearm at, they found a long gun there. If he pointed his firearm at the Secret Service, well, that's assault with a deadly weapon. Just brandishing a firearm at somebody, whether you use it or not, that's assault. What is assault? Assault is the imminent fear of bodily harm. That's really what assault is. So even if I just go like this to you, that's a misdemeanor assault. Even though I didn't hit you, if I do it with the intent to cause fear, then that is assault. And you do it with a gun, that is assault with a deadly weapon. That's basically what I'm saying. So when you look at what he did, and if Trump was nowhere around, you can't conspire with yourself. So you got to go with a more serious crime. What's the most serious crime that he committed? And the most serious crime that he committed is assault with a deadly weapon against a federal agent. And because they can't get him on anything that he did to Trump, because Trump was at the hole behind. So he wasn't there. But the real question is, how did he know how to post up where he posted up? How did he know where Trump was going to be at that particular moment? Because without that advance team, he probably could have taken a free shot at Trump. And where do you spend the most time? On the tee box and on the green. And but let's talk about this guy and the profile of this guy a little bit. So he voted for Trump in 2016. He had a construction company. He had run-ins with the cops. In 2002, he had a standoff where he barricaded himself with a weapon. So this is a guy that's a little unstable. I mean, I can tell you, I've only done that a couple times. No, I'm kidding. It's never happened. But I mean, people who barricade themselves with a weapon like that typically are not playing with a full deck. In other words, he had $65 in his bank account, but I don't know that he was necessarily suicidal. The guy who shot Trump in Pennsylvania, Butler, Pennsylvania, he was serious. He was on a rooftop. He was exposed. He had to know that they were going to take him out the minute he fired a shot, right? And what did he do? He was blown away. And so one could argue that he was desperate. I mean, he had 65. He was supposedly was a sole, self-employed with his own construction company. But anybody can have a construction company.
Yeah, they labeled it as unremarkable.
Right. And so this is a situation where you've got a guy who's delusional, and he may think that he may think that he was doing the public a service by taking Trump out. Let me tell you, nobody is doing anybody a service by assassinating a political leader in this country. All you're doing is dividing. Period. Trump should not. I want to tamp down any rhetoric that there is out there. I don't believe Trump should be eliminated. I think that we should let the political process play out. the political process that we've had in this country for a long, long, long time. That's where the fight needs to be. It's with words. It's with ideas. It's not with guns and ammo. It just isn't. And I think everybody agrees that we're all Americans. We're all on the same side. We have different ideas on how to get to where we want to get to, but we really need to just all be unified in the sense that we want no political violence. And when you see these guys who do this Ryan Wesley Ruth, he was delusional in his support for Ukraine. He's delusional in his thoughts, and here he is posting up between the 6th and 7th hole on Trump International Golf Course at a business nearby with his rifle poking through a fence. So here you have a picture of him with red on one side and then a Ukrainian flag essentially on the other side of his face.
How do we describe that?
Crazy.
No. There was a word you used to describe that earlier.
He sort of looks a little Gary Busey-esque, as my son said. Let's see. So one of the things that local authorities are saying is that the agents were posted, one hole ahead, and he was about 300 to 500 yards away from Trump when he was there. But so we finally have what the charges are, and he's got possession. And here's what they do: they'll charge him initially with X, Y, and Z. The simplest charges that they can to hold him, and so he's going to appear, and we'll talk about that in a second. But he's charged with possession of a firearm as a convicted felon and possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. Remember what I told you? If you're a felon, possessing a firearm is your kryptonite. You're going to go away to prison, and they'll get his DNA off there really quick, and they'll link that up to him somehow. But you can't have a possession of a firearm with an obliterated serial number. However, you can manufacture a gun without a serial number, and I just actually got rid of a case because he was charged with that. Anyway, I don't want to encourage any illegal activity, but So his first appearance is in West Palm Beach, Florida courtroom on this morning, and he's wearing a navy blue prison jumpsuit and shackles, appeared subdued and respectful and in good spirits. He could have been seen laughing at times with his federal public defender. The judge told he qualified for a federal public defender because you have little or no assets, but he's got a company. Anybody can have a fucking company, and it doesn't mean anything. Ruth said he has zero funds and no savings and reported making an income of $3,000 a week, but didn't specify the source. He said that he owns 2 trucks in Hawaii and helps support 25-year-old son. Ruth, he'll remain in custody until his arraignment on September 30th. So one of the things that, you're not necessarily entitled to bail on a federal case. And this is the kind of case that he would be presumed detained. In other words, there's a statute that requires you to be detained unless you overcome that presumption. So then the defense has to put on some evidence to overcome the rebuttable presumption that you'd be detained. And I guarantee you, posting up in the woods, because what are the 2 things that we talk about with bail? Risk of flight and danger to the public. And when you're basically trying to assassinate somebody, you're probably at the high end of risk to the public, is my guess. So, and the other thing is your criminal history comes into play when you come into, a bail situation. He's got all kinds of, he's got 2002 conviction for felony charged with a possession of a weapon of mass destruction. What does that mean? It could be like a pipe bomb. It could be, any kind of thing. Let's see, in December 2002, during Greensboro, news recounts an incident in which a youth was pulled over during a traffic stop on a Sunday night. He put his hands on a firearm and drove into the roofing business where he barricaded himself inside for 3 hours. The weapons of mass destruction charge pertain to a fully automatic machine gun. You're not supposed to have those. Okay. But you can get a permit for one, but you have to get it federally. Otherwise, possession of a machine gun. And if you have a switch, that is illegal as well. He was charged with several other misdemeanors and felonies between 2001 and 2010, including hit and run offense. He likes to take off, doesn't he? Carrying a concealed weapon and possessing of stolen goods. Separately, North Carolina judicial records list Ruth as a defendant in over a half a dozen court cases between 91 and 2016, including tax delinquencies and bad checks. Let's see. Ruth wrote in his LinkedIn page that he had passed along any meager remnants of myself to North Carolina and relocated to Oahu, as he lived and worked in Hawaii since 2018, according to the Honolulu Star Advisor. Well, here's the thing. I had a case once where my client was a high school student, and he had written all this stuff about the president, and he had a heart transplant. I think that's what he had a heart transplant, and he just picked somebody randomly out of the phone book. Just randomly picked somebody out of the phone book. Went to their house. Was going to kill them. He had duct tape, he had a knife, he had whatever, equipment necessary. He knocked on the window and then took off. So he didn't do anything specifically to hurt somebody, but he had planned to. And when they went through his writings, we got a visit from the Secret Service, because all of a sudden they reported this stuff, and they follow up on every single one of these cases. Every single one they follow up on. But what did he do? It really wasn't an attempt, because there was no physical interaction. Just like here, there's no physical interaction between he and the president. So it's really, it's like you do everything leading up to it, but you didn't get the opportunity to do it. So what does that mean?
However, if there was another person involved.
Right. So if there's another person involved, let's talk about my client who knocked on the window and then took off. This is a case in point. I had another client. They were going to go kill his parents, not my client's parents, but his buddy's parents. They get the guns together. They go to the guy's house, and then they leave. My client got cold feet. But guess what? When you're with another person, the crime of conspiracy is committed when there's agreement between two or more people and a substantial step in furtherance of the conspiracy. Buying guns and ammo and having a plan and getting in the car, that's a substantial step. You don't even have to make it to the door. That conspiracy is already committed. But you don't have that when you're acting alone. Isn't that kind of crazy? When you think about it, he can get all that stuff together, he can get up to the gate, and as long as he doesn't do anything, what's the crime? There should be a crime. It's an anticipatory crime, really, right? And so in this case, that's why they charge him with possession of a firearm as a felon and the obliterated serial number. They're probably, if you point the gun at an agent, that's assault with a deadly weapon. And federally speaking, you got to know that they're a federal agent. And I guarantee you, seeing people with sunglasses and suits on a golf course, knowing it's Trump International Golf Course and knowing where Trump is playing, that there's no question that they're federal agents. So if you assault a federal agent, you can expect to do a shit ton of fucking prison time. In looking at his charges, just if he just is the possession of a firearm as a felon, his guidelines are 51 to 63 months. When you put it in connection with another crime, there's a 924C element that could be a 5-year consecutive term, but we don't really know exactly what he's going to be charged with. We kind of know generally, and we don't know if there are other fact scenarios that would warrant enhancements, because if there's more than 3 firearms, for example, that's an enhancement. If you use in the commission of another crime, that's another enhancement. There's all kinds of other enhancements to get time up. But if you just look at just the possession charge, it's not that huge of a charge. It's like 51 to 63 months. But there should be an enhancement if you're possessing with the intent to kill the president. I mean, there just should be, but there isn't. So anyway, so that's our little take on Ryan and Wesley Ruth. He is just he's going to be spending quite a bit of time eating government food and wearing government clothes and sleeping in a government bed and not being able to get up in the middle of the night and make yourself a sandwich if that's what you want to do. So we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure that you prevent any destruction to the former president. Don't do that because you'll wind up in prison. My name is Bruce Rivers. I am Criminal Lawyer Reacts along with our content genius, Michael Rivers. And we'll see you next time here on Criminal Lawyer Reacts. Make sure you subscribe, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter, sign up for Patreon, and go to clrbrucerivers.com for what?
For all of our merch and a quick update tomorrow. The sweatshirts will be here in this building. They'll be delivered. There'll be giant packages of them from Orange County, but they were screen printed and they will be fantastic, last forever. So go to clrbrucerivers.com and we love you guys. We have the best fan base on earth. We'll see you soon. Back to you, Bruce.
See you next time here on Criminal Lawyer React.
Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away. Bruce Rivers just broke down your case. He know all the charges that you about to face. You ain't coming home till 2058. That self-snitching gon' get you put away.
23-hour lockdown, please, is that my God?